What is up, gamers? Jake Parker here. I just got my hands on the recently released Tribes 3 Rivals Early Access that just dropped onto Steam a few days ago. And now that I've put a solid amount of time into it, it's time to answer the question, is it worth it? To start, Tribes 3 Rivals is a movement-focused, chaotic action first-person shooter that sees players mastering their movements along with their weaponry and class choices in a fast-paced, capture-the-flag arena. With jetpacks, vast amounts of weaponry and abilities, and the ski jumping mechanic. This high-intensity combat mode is a one-of-a-kind delight that nostalgic and new fans of the Tribe series, as well as arena shooters as a whole, will enjoy. The Capture the Flag mode is the iconic staple of what makes Tribes 3 such a unique experience to play, with an endless 16v16 Capture the Flag mode system that sees players continuously loading into match after match, a solid pool of maps to choose from, and a map voting system that quite frankly needs to be implemented in any arena shooter available. Tribes 3 brings all of the best foundations to what allows players to enjoy the fast-paced games and quick load-ins that keeps players wanting more. Now with that being said, of course I do have to caution that this is not a game that anybody will be able to just pick up and master from the get-go. The ski system is arguably the most standout mechanic in the game, as it quickly distinguishes who has grown into a veteran player. Using the system properly will see you landing correctly on the slopes scattered throughout the maps to continue providing quick bursts of speed to distance yourself from opponents or capturing the flag without any issues. Any mistakes will cause you to quickly halt your movement and become a walking target for enemies to eliminate. This is not a mechanic that players will be able to quickly master, as each map provides different areas of travel and careful precision is needed to ensure that you just don't mess up your jumps. In addition, the jetpack mechanic is also a highly volatile system, as players will often forget that it has a cooldown and recovery time to consider. Pairing the jetpack with the ski mechanic will see you flying through the air and traveling great distances without any issues, but you have to keep your cooldown and recovery in mind, or else you may end up a target for an enemy with no quick way to escape. Aside from that, your class, weapon, and perk choices greatly matter, as it also determines how you intend to play the match as a whole. As a Pathfinder, though you might have the lowest HP on the team, you are also the fastest and meant to focus on the capture the flag objective, while other class choices may see you playing a more defensive role on the flag spot or scouting enemies to eliminate. With multiple weapons to choose from for each class, as well as grenade and tactical abilities, players will have a very overwhelming time at first as they try to learn and master loadouts that will fit best with their playstyle. As the gameplay is extremely fast-paced, where enemies can drop on you at any second, players will have to learn fast or face the consequences. In addition to the standard Capture the Flag mode, Tribes 3 also introduces a brand new 7v7 ranked version of the same mode with new ranks at stake. Although the gameplay operates as the same as it does with the 16v16 counterpart, the 7v7 team count makes it much more likely that you will become an enemy target, and your movement and weaponry need to be at their absolute best in order to survive. Now, because the game is in early access, it's also very likely you'll come across a somewhat lengthy queue time that may sway your decision to just move back into the 16v16 playlist. The main menu is, well, it's pretty basic main menu that showcases the straight-to-the-point information that you need in order to play Tribes 3, including options on the top bar, a player card in the top left corner, settings button, friends list, info center, and play button to jump directly into the fray. The loadout screen allows you to customize all of the 6 different classes available in Tribes 3, including stat sections for your health, energy, speed, mass, and passive abilities. Pair this with your weapon choices, belt items, and packs. Players will be able to tune their classes depending on their style of play, so they can master and enter any matches swinging with a shot of victory. The customization screen is really where players will be able to personalize the cosmetics of their classes, weapons, and identity card to showcase their accomplishments in the game, as well as in-game purchases. And the achievements page provides a massively holistic list of all of the different available achievements a player can earn throughout the game and the constant rewards for doing so. This incentivizes players to not only play what speaks to them, but exploring different ways and being rewarded for doing so. Now comes an unfortunate issue, though, that Tribes 3 has brought to the forefront. Not only is Tribes 3 a base purchase of almost $20 to obtain, there's also a listed time-limited cosmetic pass that is required for players to obtain certain daily cosmetics, as well as certain unlockable cosmetics in the game based on winning their first games of the day, limited to 1 per day, and 365 for the year and expires at the end of every year. This was quickly blasted by players and the community at large, enough so that the developers responded quickly by making much needed changes. But the problem here is that players still perceive the need to purchase the cosmetic passes in order to be able to obtain the thousands of cosmetics in the game's modular cosmetic system. If I had to be honest, this is quite honestly a terrible monetization model, as it feels like simply a cash grab with limited time passes and most of the cosmetics in the game locked behind a paywall rather than also obtainable in the game directly. Players who are looking to customize their experience in Tribes 3 may be quickly turned off to the idea of potentially being locked behind a paywall, and this will likely be a sole decision maker in whether they decide to purchase Tribes 3 at all. And lastly, for transparency, Tribes 3 does state perfectly clear on their Steam page that AI was used in the development of the game, but with an art team on hand to fine-tune and polish. This is likely the apparency in the modular cosmetic system, which will attempt to blast out as many cosmetics available to entice players towards purchasing the cosmetic passes. But the unfortunate use of AI in itself is still largely a taboo topic that many game developers and communities at large are very vocally against in every single way. If you're somebody who takes AI into consideration in whether to invest in a game, this may likely also be a determining factor that will steer you away from Tribes 3 entirely. Now, overall, is Tribes 3 a good game, a game that will last and hit all the marks of an arena shooter that players will enjoy? Well, honestly, it's a yes and a no. I do believe this game is extremely niche and much more appealing to the original Tribes community rather than a new base of players, leaving many new players to have a possibly higher time of learning before ultimately enjoying all of the Tribes 3 brings to the table. With a high learning curve, terrible monetization system at first glance that locks players out of potentially all the best rewards available, and the questionable use of AI in the development process. It's very likely Tribes 3 may not find a permanent home in the library of a lot of players, but if you're somebody who likes to try out something new or reminisce in the nostalgia of earlier Tribes games, it wouldn't hurt to consider this game in the near future. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this content and look forward to more gaming content, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to know when my next video will be live. Thank you for being the reason I get to do what I do, and until the next video, YouTube, game on.